We just entered a 40 mile an hour speed limit back there as well, so I'm just going to accelerate up to 40 now. There's a speed camera sign here as well, and there's a shared cycle pedestrian lanes left. So all those things are kind of hazards. Just for example, and there are some joggers out today, which you kind of expect on a beautiful day like this. One approaching us from the near side is not a problem, he's looking right at us. So I'm going to keep position out away from these junctions on the left. That's all I need to do to negotiate them really safely. Watching the jogger, happy with him, no worries with him at all. He's not looking over his shoulder. Joggers are to be noted because they do run out in front of the road, you know, in front of you without looking, because they need to keep their heart rate up. They think that's their priority. I would suggest to them that their priority should be something else, but anyway, never mind. One just turning in across our path. He's not going to be a problem. He's looking right at me. I'm going to keep it to 40 then. We're in 4th gear. That's a fine gear for just negotiating this. We've got a normal kind of broken line down the centre here, so there's no hazard line at the moment, and we're approaching what looks to be actually a roundabout in the distance, and there's a pedestrian with a dog on the near side and a junction on the near side close to me, which is clear. Mirror. Okay, so on approach to this roundabout then, my intention is to take the second exit, go straight ahead. The pedestrian is looking over his shoulder. There's information, roundabout, okay. And position will be to the left, shoulder check near side then to take that position, and speed come off to the 30 as well, and bringing in the brakes now for speed, planning to stop again, but looking for the opportunity to go. Here's one from the right, so we don't have the opportunity to go, so I'm going to keep it inching forward. We'll take it in a rolling first, and that's one of the times when you can overlap two phases of the system. If you look, I haven't been describing it in sufficient detail, but actually what I'm doing the rest of the time is I'm not allowing my brakes and gears to overlap. I'm actually just braking, getting it down to the speed I want, then off the brakes and take the gear. You know, not too much delay between those two, but certainly no overlap. That's the ideal way to do it, but sometimes, for example, it's always a case if you're taking a rolling first, you will generally want to overlap your brakes and gears so that the car doesn't run away with itself. Or maybe there's other times as well, if someone's quite close behind you, it's acceptable just to overlap your brakes and gears to get around the hazard a little bit more quickly so you don't hold them up or piss them off. The other thing is, if you're going downhill, again, the same thing applies. If you put in the clutch, the car will start to run away with itself, so you need to keep a little bit of space, a little bit of pressure on the brakes as you change your gear. Okay, so mirror and position away from this cyclist. So you see, every hazard, I don't have to consider, as I said, it's a weapon of choice thing. I'm going to adjust my position first to deal with the hazard safely, and that's the end of it. You know, I don't have to consider the rest of the phase of the system. I've already dealt with the hazard, so I'll move on to the next hazard. The other thing I'm doing, and we'll go into this in more detail in a later session, is scanning ahead all the time, literally as far ahead as I can see, and then back into middle distance and mirror, and then ahead, spread if you like, middle distance and then mirror. So we just keep going through that cycle. And I'm trying to avoid going into a full commentary. There's plenty of hazards that I'm just not really mentioning at the moment because I don't want to overload what I'm talking about. So at the next, I know there's a roundabout ahead. It's some distance away yet. Just watching the cyclists near side, shoulder checking position away from them to make them safe then. Got a junction on the left which is clear, mirror. I'm going on this approach to this roundabout, my intention is to take the first exit. So again, just having a look on the mirror. One junction near side again, mirror, nothing behind. There is a motorcyclist, I'm just slightly looking at him now, wondering what he's going to do. He's going to try to overtake me here. At this roundabout, my intention is to take the first exit. I can see the plan board for the roundabout now, and another junction before it. So information, we won't signal until we pass the junction to avoid any ambiguity, and then we'll signal. And now shoulder check near side and position to the near side, watching the one in front, scrubbing my brakes off on the gears now. I'm not going to enter this area because it's got a solid white line around it, and we can't actually go, so we're going to just hold it here on the handbrake for a second. No, actually won't bother, we don't have to stop that long. The motorcyclist is turning into Abingdon with me, that's fine, just keeping an eye on him. We're entering a 30 mile speed limit now. Now that I've finished talking about roundabouts, I'm going to show you so he's just overtaking me now, that's fine. I'm just going to show you some kind of system as applied to junctions. So how do we do junctions then? Well, we do it in the same ways as we do the system applied to anything really. It's the same 5 phases of the system, but you just kind of you get used to. I'm talking about right and left turns basically, so you just get used to them slightly differently. So coming through this traffic light's mirror, position over to the offside to follow the correct lane. That's absolutely fine. So at the roundabout, my intention is to turn right, mirror, signal, position. Really, we haven't got that much space here, so we won't bother with that too much. And speed coming off now on the brakes, watching the pedestrian on the brakes still. I'm going to actually overlap it a little bit just because it's so tight here. And then shoulder check offside and turning round. At the top, my intention is to turn right, mirror, signal, position out away from the vehicle. Looking both sides here, it's clear to go. Speed coming off now. If I did need to take a gear, I'd be able to take it there, but I don't. I'm already in second and turning it round. So basically what we're trying to do is avoid any overlap in the system. When you start to do it at first, try to avoid any overlap, and then what you can do later, once you get used to it, is make it flexible like you need it to be. At the top I'm going to turn left, so it's not really a junction. I'm just going to follow the road around, shoulder check near side to make sure we're not cutting anyone up, and we follow it around. Okay. At the top I'm going to turn left again, mirror, position's already set really, speed coming off now. Actually maybe need to take this one in at first, but we don't really, we're just going to follow the road around. And then follow it around to the right. Even, you know, and even on these kind of turns, it might sometimes, you know, you can use your signals intelligently. There was someone behind back then, I might have signalled to them just to draw my attention to myself first of all, and also just to reinforce my intention to go where I'm going. But, you know, the other thing about using your signals intentionally is it doesn't give you any rights or privileges. It just maybe suggests, okay, so we're going to turn right here. I'm going to signal. There's one approaching us I can see from the reflection. And we'll wait for him to turn in. We'll wait for everyone to sort myself out here. Shoulder check to the offside, then following around to the offside. At top we're going to turn right where that focus is going. So mirror, there's no one behind, no one to signal to. Position over to the left really for anyone who's turning in from the junction. And getting the speed off now, and then back on the speed, drive, looking around, and around we go. So you see the acceleration phase there is the last phase. We want to, basically as we go around, one thing we want to do is basically as we go around a roundabout or a hazard or a bend, whatever it is, you want a little bit of drive on in that gear. You do not want the car to be pulling itself around, you want to be pushing it around with the engine. You don't want the momentum of the car to be carrying around, because then it's not really under control if you're doing that. If you think about it, the car is pulling you around, you want to be pushing the car around. So mirror, I'm going to turn left here, just watching the cyclist just appear from nowhere. That's absolutely fine. No one to signal to currently behind. Just going to get the speed right off now. There's one signal to, so I'll put on the signal. That's another thing. You know, you don't, just because you didn't signal originally doesn't mean that you have to you know, that you can't put it on later. The information phase overlaps the phases of the rest of the system, so you're absolutely free to, you know, to, if you don't want to signal originally, to put it on later. Now some drivers, some IAM drivers will argue that you should be signalling all the time. If you want to do that, that's absolutely fine. Mirror, signal. There is signalling to traffic already on the roundabout. Speed coming off an acceleration sense. We can just drop it into the gear now, and then we take the gear and we go. The other thing I'm doing, and we'll show you this now, I don't know, there's on YouTube you can look up other stuff like which shows it better, which is you know, rev matching. Every time I change down the gear, I believe that rev matching is the way forward. Basically, I'm in fourth now. I'm doing 40 miles an hour, and I've got about 2,500 revs. So I want to get into the third here, for example. So all I have to do is put in the clutch, check the gear, and then blip the throttle and bring it up to the new rev. And if you do that, you get a lovely smooth gear change. And that's, you know, I do that every time I change down, mostly. Not every single time, but the majority of the time I'll be doing that. Just keeping it to 40 here. One towards with his lights on, mirror. Going back in to do some more roundabouts now. There's a bridge overhead, it's clear of any pedestrians mucking around on it, or throwing bricks off or anything like that. Someone's putting out a lot of smoke there. I don't want to breathe that in, so we'll get the air recycling on. Mirror. Gonna signal. Actually I won't, because it's the second exit I'm taking here, sorry. Getting speed off now. See how much the speed's come off? I'm not touching the clutch yet. I'm not touching the clutch. Now it's safe to go. I'm off the speed, take the gear, and the clutch is back up, crucially, before we cross the line. If you can do that, you're doing it right. If you find that, you know, it's all too rushed, all that's happening, if you find that it's all too rushed, all that's happening is you're not starting the system early enough. Just try again. Keep practicing it, and try again, and just start a little bit earlier. So the next roundabout, my intention is to cross at second exit, mirror. Position really to the near side, just keeping it around to the near side. We're in fourth gear, there's a 30 mile speed limit, mirror, and getting the speed off. Now I'm doing the mirror before I do the speed, just to make sure that no one's going to be affected by that, to make sure no one's going to hit me from behind, for example. Still on brakes, not touching the clutch. Now take the second gear off the brakes, take the second gear and go around, clutch up again before I cross the line. At the next roundabout, my intention is to take the first exit back into Abingdon town centre. So mirror, shoulder check and position left, early enough. So we're starting to see how early we're starting a phase of the system now. Obviously there's other hazards as we approach. It's not the only hazard, but it's the only hazard I'm really planning to do something about at the moment. And we will signal our pass ambiguity. Bringing the speed off next. Speed. Planning to stop, you see. We're waiting for that white car to clear the roundabout so I can go. It's not rocket science, but it's surprising how many drivers, even experienced ones, just waiting for that cyclist to cross. Okay, that's fine. It's surprising how many drivers, even experienced ones, will just continually rush up to a roundabout and then just sit there, you know, waiting for the traffic to clear. And sorry, but you know, it just takes a little bit of discipline really to just look ahead and get your speed off nice and early and use the system properly, and then you'll make much better progress. You'll find if you know that the amount of time that you have to stop, the amount of wear on your clutch from stopping going will decrease rapidly if you apply the system